Starting with Pacific Comics issue number 5, Tom Luth was on board for coloring all the Groo the Wanderer comics. Then, when the Groo Chronicles was published, Sergio made him do it all again. Hi, I'm Darren, these are my hands, and this is GrooTube, where we appreciate the art of Aragonese. This time we're back looking at the covers of PC Groos again, how Tom Luth did a wonderful job of coloring them because he's now on board with the Groo crew. And we're going into the Chronicles again to see what they look like in their recolored versions that Tom worked so hard on again just a few years later. So let's get to the comic covers. Oh, wow. Man alive. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful page? Look at that gradient between the blues and the purples, the oranges, the yellow. Oh, it's lovely. Good job, Tom. Oh, wow, it's neat to see how he did have the blue, purple, orange, and yellow sky here, but was able to just gradiate it so nicely in the Chronicles reprint. But we're here for the covers. So it's interesting looking at these two covers. Obviously, the first thing that jumps out at me is, well, the lack of the Groo the Wanderer title block, but also the stripes brought in to the sail. I suppose the curve of the line and the banding, slightly different colors, and the gradient gives it more of a three-dimensional look, which is really nice. At the same time, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too much orange, especially when we've got Groo in his jerkin right there. Another thing that I noticed right away is the cover seems to be cropped and shifted a little bit in the Chronicles reprint. We can see the edge of this fella's head, and we can see his little shoulder medallion, his, what are those called? We can see more teeth and tongue on the dragon here, and another splash on this side compared to this side here. And then looking at this side, we don't have the flag. We don't have the flag pole. We barely have the rudder of the ship coming out. And certainly we don't have any oars on this side, or this nice little skull, or this dude poking around the back of the lantern here. Looks like Sergio did help out, though. He drew some clouds in the background here that we don't have in the original, which I think is actually really nice. I'm not sure what cover I like best. I like the stripes, but I don't like the orange. I kind of like the fact that this guy isn't wearing a cloak, whereas in the Chronicles reprint, Tom has colored him with a blue cloak. The deeper reddy brown of this ship, more orange over here, a little bit of a green hue to the sail here. I don't know, I think Groo seems to be lost a bit in the sail. So I'm going to go with the original Pacific comic cover as my preferred version of this particular cover. Tom Luth, you did a great job on your first cover. All right, Groo number 6. This is special. Let's see if we can do this. What an absolutely fantastic cover, front and back. Wow, this is really one of the most special covers I think Sergio has done, don't you? And I have to be really careful with my copy of Chronicles book number 4. I want to be mindful of the spine here. So, what has Tom done to recolor this? Not a whole lot. Perhaps he's muted the colors a little bit on the reprint. We've added pink lizard to the top of Lizard Man's helmet. A little bit of pink to his scales on the face here. But mostly he's kept things about the same, except for, muting things down a bit. The big thing that stands out to me, though, is what is going on with this yellow headband on Groo? Groo should have a orange headband. That's just not right. You can see the crop is just a little bit tighter with the top of Sergio's name, losing a bit of the accent here, and a little bit of his signature down at the bottom. But we see a little bit more on the edge here compared to here. It is a great image, though. Let's take a look at the back cover. Wow, look at that. That's just fantastic, isn't it? Groo's skin takes on more of an orange tone, but at least he's got the right colored headband on the back cover. Again, the lizard on the reptile man's skull has changed color. This time it's orange, though. And some of the decorations on the helmets of the other lizard men have changed colors as well. A little bit of variety there. Big thing for me here is Groo's sword. While it was dripping with red blood on the original PC cover, it's just black on that blue blade now, which is a trick I think they use to kind of tone things down a little bit, make it a little more kid-friendly in the Chronicles reprint. The scabbards of Groo's katana are now gray instead of brown, and there's a little bit of, what is that, blood splatter? Or maybe that's just ink up by the title block. I've always thought that was like a little bit of sweat or something coming off of Groo's brow. Maybe it's a printing error, because it's not here. Anyway, it's a beautiful cover. It looks great in the reprint. I love the paper, but I think I prefer the slightly brighter colors of the original comic and the proper color headband on Groo. That's important. And now it's time to meet Chacal. Have I mentioned before how much I like the real cartoony look of early Chacal? And I really like Tom's recolored cover in the Groo Chronicles book number 5. First off, the gradient is a little bit subtler in the reprint. The value is toned down a bit to allow the characters to stand out a little bit more. It's nice that this line isn't here in the reprint. Looks better in my opinion without that line breaking things up, creating an artificial header that doesn't need to be there. I don't know, what do we think? Groo and Chacal's skin tones, a little bit more browny, a little bit less pinky. I'm not sure which I prefer. You know, Groo looks a little sick. I guess he's lovesick with his skin tone here. Chacal looks a little more tanned. I don't know, I could go either way. What do you think? Is this a little bit more realistic looking though? I like it. And we definitely see that the intent is to get a little bit of blonde in Chacal's hair here. We're losing a little bit of the highlights on Groo's little hearts bubbling up from his head. But otherwise, Tom hasn't changed too much. The same general scheme in the title blocks, in the background of the sky, with the flowers and the grass. It's hard to improve upon your original though, Tom. And I think if I could have the original without this line and the white header block there, like just keep it plain like we have on the reprint, they're both pretty nice though. And finally, Pacific Groo number 8. Let's find it in book 6 of the Chronicles. See, there's a slight bit of yellow to Chacal's hair here. You know, she's a little bit blonde. She's not just this white-haired warrior. All right. What do you think of this? I like it. I really do. The almost fiery-looking sunset. The gradient between the orange and down to the yellow in the sky back there. I like how Tom has made so many of the pieces of armor on these other warriors gold as opposed to just a plain silver metallic color here on the original. You can even see the sunset reflecting in Chacal's skin here. Wow, this looks so good to me. Maybe it's because it's just new that I like it so much, but I do think I prefer Tom's recolored version in the Chronicles to the original. Maybe there was just too much purple and blue happening, just kind of losing things in the original. Even Chacal's skin tone has a little bit of that purpley pink to it, and it just kind of blends in with the other skin tones and with the blues on the cloaks of these other soldiers and the purple sky. Yeah, this is looking really good. Green grass, not brown dirt. It's beautiful. We can see the edge of the tree that's not here. Perhaps that was just the edge of the drawing originally. We do see Groo's sword popping through. The branches here, a little bit higher. Not so much space above Sergio's name. A little bit more space down at the bottom. Wouldn't that look great on the cover of a book or a poster. Oh, beautiful stuff. I like it a lot. I guess it's obvious that this is my choice. I prefer the recolored version. But you know, Tom, we're so glad that you joined up with the Groo crew halfway through the Pacific run, and it really was neat to see how you reinterpreted these covers, some a little bit more than others, a few years later in the Groo Chronicles. 1983 to 1989, 6 years later. Maybe that was just the right amount of time to come back to these covers with fresh eyes and some fresh inks. Well, Groo friends, thanks for spending a little bit more time with me looking at the Groo Chronicles and the original Pacific Groo covers. I'm glad that we were able to finish off these last 4 covers. Kind of completes the series that we started a little while ago. Let me know in the comments where you think Tom got it right in his recoloring, or perhaps where you would have liked to see things done a little bit different. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications, because I'll be back again soon with some more GrooTube. Take care, everyone. Oh yeah, that's definitely the way to go.